Welcome to Dogs Info. You love your dog more than anything. But what if your daily habits are secretly destroying their trust in you? Dogs are incredibly forgiving creatures, but they have a breaking point. There are certain mistakes we make often out of pure love or sheer frustration that leave a lasting psychological scar. These aren't just minor annoyances. These are deep betrayals in the canine mind that can permanently alter their personality and how they look at you. Today we are exposing 12 everyday things your dog will absolutely never forgive you for. If you do number 11, you might be turning your best friend against you. Let's find out if you are accidentally breaking your dog's heart. Let's dive in. Number 1, the cute exception to the rules. We have all been there. You know, your dog absolutely should not be allowed to chew on your slippers, jump on the couch, or beg at the dinner table. But when they are a tiny puppy, or when they flash you those big, sad, manipulative eyes, it is just so funny and cute that you cannot bring yourself to correct them. You laugh, you take a video, and you let it slide. While it might seem like you are being the cool owner by cutting them some slack, what you are actually doing is inflicting deep psychological confusion. When you neglect to reprimand your dog for breaking an established rule, your dog does not think, "Oh, how kind of my human to let me off the hook this one time." They actually think, okay, so this action is no longer against the rules. I will make a permanent mental note of that. The betrayal happens a few weeks later. They do the exact same thing, but this time you are stressed in a rush or wearing nice clothes and you angrily yell at them. To your dog, they did absolutely nothing wrong. They followed the new rule you permitted and you exploded at them for no reason. Dogs passionately hate unpredictability. Making this mistake repeatedly destroys their confidence and makes them chronically nervous around you because they never know which version of you they are going to get. And speaking of unpredictability, the next mistake turns their entire daily existence into a chaotic nightmare. At the end of this video, I have a special gift for anyone who wants to know exactly what kind of caretaker they truly are. I will show you how to find out which specific owner archetype you fall into. So, make sure to stay with me until the very end. Number 2, forcing them into a chaotic, routineless life. It is incredibly easy to forget just how strange, alien, and totally unpredictable the average domestic dog's life actually is. Think about it from their perspective. They live in a house controlled by a giant hairless apex predator. That predator randomly takes them outside, puts them inside a roaring metal box with 4 wheels that moves terrifyingly fast, or leads them around by their neck on a piece of string. The human brings strange, loud people into the dog's sacred territory and forces the dog to go to the vet where strangers poke and prod them. It is all incredibly overwhelming. The absolute only way your dog copes with the sheer alienness of their life is by memorizing your daily routine. Now is the time we walk. Now is the time the magic bag of kibble opens. Now is the time the human falls unconscious in the dark for 8 hours. When you fail to provide a structured routine, feeding them at random hours, walking them sporadically, wildly changing their sleep schedule, you strip away their only biological anchor. A dog without a routine lives in a perpetual state of low-grade anxiety because they are constantly bracing for the unknown. Long-term, this chronic stress can severely damage their mental health and their trust in your leadership. While a lack of routine stresses their mind, the next mistake makes them feel physically trapped and terrified by the person they love most. Number 3, the restraining bear hug. Who doesn't love wrapping their arms around a fluffy dog for a massive bear hug? Probably your dog. This is one of the hardest things for humans to accept, but it is deeply rooted in evolutionary biology. To primates like us, wrapping our arms around someone is the ultimate gesture of comfort, love, and reassurance. But dogs are not primates. They, snorts, are canines. In the natural canine world, a hug simply does not exist. They do not have the anatomical arms for it. The absolute only gesture in a dog's language that comes close to a human hug is when one dog aggressively pins another dog to the ground by throwing their weight over their shoulders during a serious fight or a dominance display. When you lean over your dog and tightly wrap your arms around their neck, they do not interpret it as love. they interpret it as being physically trapped, restrained, and dominated. Many dogs will politely tolerate it because they love you, showing subtle signs of distress, like licking their lips, turning their head away, or pinning their ears back. But if you force it too often, especially with a dog who is already anxious, that feeling of claustrophobia can easily cause them to become deeply afraid of your physical touch. You want your touch to bring comfort, but waking them up with that touch can lead to a dangerous disaster. Number 4, triggering the sleep startle. There is a very old, very true saying, let sleeping dogs lie. When your furry best friend looks incredibly peaceful, curled up in a ball on the living room rug, the temptation to walk over and scoop them up for a quick cuddle or stroke their head can be overwhelming. But waking a dog up suddenly with physical touch is a massive violation of their vulnerability. When you do this, you can trigger an involuntary neurological reaction known as the sleep startle reflex. When a dog is violently pulled from deep REM sleep by a sudden touch, their brain does not have the critical milliseconds required to process where they are or who is touching them. Their ancient survival instincts take over, instantly, treating the touch as a predator's attack. This is incredibly common in rescue dogs, ex-racing greyhounds, or dogs who spent their early lives surviving on the unpredictable streets. The sleep startle reflex can be so overwhelmingly strong that the dog might snap, growl, or even bite before they fully wake up and realize it is you. When they do wake up, they feel terrified and deeply betrayed. Constantly startling your dog out of their rest will ruin their ability to feel safe sleeping in your presence. You would never want to unfairly scare your dog in their sleep, but millions of owners unfairly punish their dogs long after they are wide awake. Number 5. The time-delayed scolding. Nobody genuinely enjoys being the bad guy, but as a responsible pet parent, you cannot just let your dog run wild. You have to enforce boundaries. However, the way you enforce those boundaries dictates whether your dog respects you or deeply resents you. If you come home from a long day at work to find that your dog has completely shredded your favorite pair of sneakers or knocked over the kitchen garbage can, your instinct is to drag them over to the mess point at it and loudly yell, "Bad dog! What did you do?" Here is the heartbreaking reality. Dogs live entirely in the present moment. They have a brilliant associative memory, but they simply do not possess the cognitive ability to connect your current explosive anger to an action they committed 3 hours or even 3 minutes ago. When you scream at them long after the fact, they do not feel remorse for chewing the shoe. They just think you are a terrifying, unpredictable tyrant who randomly attacks them for absolutely no reason. If you do not catch them exactly in the act within the first few seconds, the window for discipline is completely closed. Let it go. Otherwise, you are actively teaching them to fear your arrival. And speaking of unfair punishment, wait until you hear why you are scolding them for simply having a panic attack. Number 6, punishing their silent cries for help. When you set rules for your household, there are absolute basics. No peeing on the rug, no excessive barking at the windows, and no chewing the furniture. These are necessary boundaries so you can live peacefully without your house being destroyed. But there is a massive psychological catch. Many of these destructive behaviors are not acts of defiance. They are natural, desperate manifestations of severe canine distress. Dogs chew on table legs, bark incessantly, and urinate indoors when they are suffering from crippling separation, anxiety, profound boredom, or intense fear. It is their biological way of coping with stress. When you violently scold or punish a dog for chewing the baseboard while you were gone, you are literally punishing them for having a panic attack. It is the equivalent of screaming at a human for biting their fingernails when they are nervous. It does not fix the root problem. It dramatically amplifies their anxiety. They learn that not only are they terrified when you leave, but they will also be attacked when you return. Instead of punishing the symptom, you must address the emotional cause. Give them proper mental enrichment, safe chew toys, and confidence-building training. You should never punish a dog for seeking comfort, but violently snatching away the thing that brings them joy is a surefire way to create a dangerous animal. Number 7, snatching their treasures. You need your dog's attention, but they are completely obsessed with their new chew toy or a random stick they found in the yard. What do? The absolute worst thing you can possibly do is march over, pry their jaws open, and aggressively rip the item out of their mouth. Dogs are opportunistic scavengers by nature. They can be incredibly possessive over the things they consider to be high value. When you forcefully take a toy or a bone away from them before they are ready to give it up, you are confirming their absolute worst biological fear that you are a thief competing for their resources. Making this mistake repeatedly forces the dog into a deeply defensive state known as resource guarding. A dog that feels constantly robbed will become fiercely paranoid. They will begin to growl, snap, or even bite whenever you so much as walk past them while they are eating or playing. You have completely shattered their trust in your leadership, turning a peaceful home into a battlefield where they constantly have to defend their belongings from you. Always trade them for a higher value treat instead of snatching. You want your dog to feel perfectly safe sharing with you at home, but forcing them to share space with a chaotic mob outside is a massive betrayal of their trust. Number 8, the dog park nightmare. The local dog park seems like a brilliant idea. It is a fantastic place for your dog to burn off energy, and it is a great place for you to socialize with other dog owners. You unleash your dog, grab a coffee, start chatting with a neighbor, and assume your dog is having the absolute time of their life running with the pack. But you are likely ignoring a massive canine crisis happening right behind your back. Remember, your dog's senses are exponentially more sensitive than yours. What looks to you like a fun, playful group of dogs running around can feel to your dog like a terrifying, overwhelming mob of unpredictable predators. The chaotic mess of barking, aggressive posturing, and intense smells can cause severe sensory overload. Many owners completely fail to read their dog's desperate body language. If your dog is excessively panting, tightly tucking their tail between their legs, hiding behind your knees, or frantically trying to escape the gate, they are begging you for help. They are not having fun. They are terrified. When you ignore their silent pleas and force them to stay in that chaotic environment, you prove to them that you will not protect them when they feel threatened. This destroys their reliance on you. It is bad enough to force them into a wild crowd of strange dogs, but forcing them to perform for strange humans in your own living room might be even worse. Number 9, forcing them to entertain strangers. We all think our dogs are the absolute best, most beautiful creatures on the planet. Naturally, when friends or family come over to visit, you want to show your pup off. You want your guests to pet them, play with them, and see how amazing they are. But while highly extroverted dogs might thrive on this attention, many dogs are naturally introverted, shy, or deeply territorial. Having a loud group of strangers suddenly invade their safe sanctuary is incredibly stressful. If your dog retreats to the hallway, refuses to make eye contact, or softly growls when a guest reaches out to pet them, the worst thing you can do is drag them by the collar into the center of the room and force them to interact. You cannot cure a dog's shyness or fear by throwing them into the deep end of the pool. This psychological flooding technique severely traumatizes them. It teaches your dog that every time the doorbell rings, they are going to be forced into an incredibly uncomfortable, terrifying situation by the person who was supposed to keep them safe. They will begin to associate all human guests with pure panic, potentially leading to lifelong fear-based aggression. When they are overwhelmed by guests, they desperately need a safe space to retreat to. But if you make this next mistake, you destroy their only sanctuary. Number 10, weaponizing the crate. Crate training, when done correctly, is one of the greatest gifts you can give a dog. It provides them with a biological den, a dark, quiet, secure cave where they can go to decompress, sleep safely, and escape the chaos of the household. But because the crate is so effective at containing a dog, it is incredibly tempting to misuse it. You are trying to clean the house, answer an important work email, or cook dinner, and your dog is whining, jumping, and demanding your attention. In a moment of sheer frustration, you angrily snap at them, grab their collar, and banish them to their crate for a timeout just so you can get 5 minutes of peace. Your dog does not understand that you are just stressed about an email. All they understand is that you are furiously angry with them. And because you are angry, they are being locked inside their crate. When you weaponize the crate as a tool for punishment, it ceases to be a safe sanctuary. It becomes a jail cell. The next time you actually need them to go into the crate to sleep or travel, they will fight you, cry and panic because you have taught them that the crate is a place of rejection and anger. Betraying their safe space is cruel, but actively playing mind games with your dog for your own amusement is something they will truly resent. Number 11, the cruel prankster. We all enjoy a bit of lighthearted banter and practical joking with our human friends. As long as no one gets hurt, playing a prank is a fun way to bond. So, it is completely natural to think that playing a harmless prank on your dog will yield the same fun result. People love to pretend to throw a tennis ball, but actually hide it behind their back, laughing as the dog searches frantically. They blow air directly into the dog's sensitive face, sneak up and loudly scare them while they are sleeping, or humiliate them by forcing them into uncomfortable, restrictive costumes just to get a funny video for social media. Here is the massive psychological disconnect. Your human friends have the cognitive capacity to understand irony, sarcasm, and the concept of a joke. Your dog absolutely does not. To your dog's incredibly literal mind, these pranks just come across as you being manipulative, confusing, and mean for absolutely no reason. When you constantly trick them or mock their confusion, you slowly erode the foundational trust between you. They begin to view you as an unpredictable bully rather than a stable leader. Pranks make your dog feel foolish and rejected. But the ultimate rejection happens when they bring you their purest love and you push it away. Number 12, rejecting their affection. Getting a tidal wave of love and affection from your furry best friend is arguably the greatest reward of dog ownership. But let's be honest, sometimes their timing is terrible. When you walk through the door exhausted after a brutal 12-hour workday carrying heavy groceries, the last thing you want is a 60-pound dog jumping on your chest and frantically licking your face. Or maybe you are in the middle of a crucial Zoom meeting and they keep nudging your elbow with their wet nose. In those stressful moments, it is so easy to react with sharp impatience. You aggressively push them away, yell, "Get down," or shove them into the other room. You have to be incredibly careful with how you handle this. Dogs are highly observant learners. They figure out how they are supposed to exist in your world entirely by watching how you react to their behaviors. When your dog offers you their most vulnerable, genuine affection, and they consistently see you reacting with anger, frustration, and physical rejection, they internalize a devastating lesson. They eventually decide that you simply do not want their love. Over time, they will stop trying. You could inadvertently train your dog to never seek out your cuddles, never greet you at the door, and never look to you for comfort again. That is a horrifying, heartbreaking thought for any pet parent. Your dog's love is a profound privilege, and it requires patience, understanding, and deep respect to maintain. After seeing these 12 mistakes, you might be questioning everything about how you raise your dog. But here is the truth. Your everyday habits actually categorize you into one of 10 very specific types of dog owners. And your dog already knows exactly which one you are. Are you the anxious protector, the steady pack leader, or an archetype you never even realized? It is time to find out the truth. Scan this QR code right now or click the link in the description below. It is a completely free quiz and it only takes 2 minutes. Now, I want to hear about the furry best friend who holds your heart. Drop down into the comments below. Tell us your beautiful dog's name and let us know what you do every day to make sure they know they are loved. Thanks for watching and like and subscribe, share please.